This section is on measures of central tendency and dispersion. So measures of central tendency measure what is typical or central for a data set. And this includes the mean, median, mode, and mid-range. While measures of dispersion measure the spread of the data. So this would be the range and the standard deviation. So the mode is the data item that occurs most often. And it's possible to have more than one mode. It's also possible to have no mode. So if all of the data items occur the exact same amount of times, you would not have any mode. When the data is organized from smallest to largest, the median is the data value in the middle. So when you have an even number of data points, the median is the average of the middle two numbers. The range is the total spread of the data. So we would take the highest value and subtract the lowest value. The mid-range is the midpoint of the range. So you would take the lowest value, add the highest value, and then divide by 2. The mean is the average. So I would say that this is the most popular measurement. And this is where we add up all the data and divide by the number of items. Lastly is standard deviation, which is an average of deviations from the mean. And what it does is measures the spread of the data. So the lower the value, the closer the data is together. The higher the value, the more spread out it is. So I want to show this example to really highlight what standard deviation is. So we have 6 data sets, and each data set has 7 items, and each data set has the same average. They all have an average of 13. So if you add up all the data items and divide by 7, you get 13, and that happens for each of these. But the data sets are all very different. So if you look at the graphs all look very different. And the first data set is starting out with every value being 13. So that is not spread out at all, which is why it has a standard deviation value of 0. But then as the data gets more and more spread out, you can see that the standard deviation value continues to increase. So the mean is the average of your data, but the standard deviation represents how spread out it is. For number 1, we're given the following data set, and we're asked to find these measures. So I want to find as many of these by hand first, and then I'll show how to use the calculator. So the mode is the data item that occurs the most often, which for this data set, 0 occurs 3 times, and that's the most. So 0 is the mode. For the median, we need to first organize our data. So we have to put it in order. And we have 9 values, and the median is the value in the middle. So that will be 2. For the range, we need to take the highest value and subtract the lowest value. So 12 minus 0 is 12. For the mid-range, we need to take the lowest value plus the highest value and divide by 2. So this will be 6. For the mean, we need to add up all of the values and then divide by the number of values. So in this case we have 9 values. So if we add up all of these numbers and divide by 9, then we get 4. For the standard deviation, there is a method to find this without using the calculator, but we aren't going to be covering that in this course. So let's look at the calculator. So I want to press Stat, and then once I get to the Stat menu, I want to go to the Edit menu, and then I want to enter in my data items into list 1. And then I want to quit out, and then I want to go back into the Stat menu and go over to Calc and then down to 1var stats and press enter, and then it appears on my home screen, and then press enter again, and then I have all of my information. So this is the mean, this is the standard deviation, and that's the one that I'm looking for. N is the number of items. Min x is the lowest value. This is the median, and this is the highest value. So there's other information here, but these are the ones that we're focused on. So my standard deviation rounded to 2 places is 4.72.